Well, a lot of people will call it balancing, but both are right. Because Indo-Russian ties are very important. You look at India's defense equipment, even 60% of it, whether it's tanks, armored personnel carriers, warships, submarines, S-400 air defense systems, they're all Russian. Now, you need spares, you need maintenance, and that can only come largely from Russia. So India and Russia have something going there. As far as the space program is concerned, again, though the Americans are now offering things, and that will happen too, the Russians have been helping India with the space program for years and years, beginning with Rakesh Sharma and all that. Now, even for this Gaganayan, this manned mission, the Russians have been helping with the engines and also with the training. So in areas like civil nuclear, trade, defense, of course, all these areas, the Russians and Indians have been very close. And it has to be said that both sides realize that Russia is exporting much more than India is exporting to Russia, and that has to change. So that too is on the anvil. Besides that, yes, you talked about peace. Prime Minister has always been very clear about this. The Indian position is that we have to have peace. The war between Russia and Ukraine has to end. And the earlier it ends, the better it is for not only India, for not just South countries, but also the world. Very importantly, Prime Minister had said several years ago that the 21st century is not a time for war. And today, in Russia, with Vladimir Putin in attendance, he spoke about the need for peace.
Indeed. So this balancing act between economics, Srinjoy, and of course, as far as diplomacy is concerned, considering that India has positioned itself as a country that is going to push for peace as far as the Ukrainian war is concerned. But economics, Sumita, is at the heart of it, one would imagine. And we've heard from the Foreign Secretary about this as well. Do decode for us what exactly the Foreign Secretary has said where economic engagement between India and Russia are concerned.
Yes, Vikram, very importantly, the economic engagement between the two countries, the Foreign Secretary said that that was the focus of these talks. Of course, like my colleague Srinjoy Chowdhury was mentioning, that the Ukraine crisis, the Russia-Ukraine crisis did figure in these talks. And of course, the Prime Minister stating that the only way for lasting peace is through peaceful dialogue. And that was really appreciated by President Putin as well. But overall, it is the economic engagement that remained the focus, the core focus area of that bilateral, wherein both the sides spoke about trade, capital linkages, energy trade, of course, defense cooperation and expanding that, and of course, fertilizer security. In fact, the Prime Minister also spoke about expanding the Make in India, the manufacturing mission that India really has, that campaign, and how that can be expanded. On rebalancing of trade as well was one of the things that was discussed at present. The bilateral trade between both the countries stands at $65 billion, and both the sides are looking at expanding that to $100 billion target. And then, of course, India is also looking at greater market access in industrial and agriculture sector. But most importantly, both the sides agreed that economic cooperation till 2030 has to be expanded, in which is where I think that revised target of 100 billion really comes into the picture. Other than these, there was discussion on Kudankulam project, energy cooperation, security, stronger supply chains. These were some of the things that were discussed. But most importantly, farmers remained a key focus area this time as well, in light of the food, fuel and fertilizer crisis that India has been able to wade over due to this partnership.